let's make some wheat. There's so many elements on making wheat. So I wanted to start off by pre-doing a lot of it so you can see what the final product will look like, the in-between, and right before. So what I start off with is a bullion stitch, and I don't always do my stitches by the quote-unquote rules. I just kind of do what's easiest for me. So what I do is I start kind of opposite of where I'm going to land. So in other words, I start up here, I come down here, and I come back up through the same hole or right beside it. Now, I don't have a very long needle. For bullion stitch, you want a longer tip. So since I can't do that, usually I'll hold it and I'll wrap my thread around the needle, but I'm just gonna do it this way. And I'm gonna hold it with my thumb so it doesn't slide off, just like it's trying to do. So if you have a shorter needle, I cannot find where the rest of my needles are, then you wanna do it this way, but you just make sure you hold it and don't wrap it too tight, because then you have to get the eye of your needle through. And try to get one, see I'm using all 6 strands here, but try to get one that the eye of the needle is the same diameter as the rest of your needle. So I'm gonna wrap this about 7 to 8 times. Usually I get it to about that point, but however long this is how long you want this. So that's about right. And then I wrap this a little tight, so this might come through a little hard. But I love making wheat like this because it's so realistic. Okay, and if it's too hard, what I do is I kind of wiggle. I take my thumbnail and push it down, and you just kind of have to wiggle until you get. That's why I said I don't have the kind of needle that I really need for this, but I wanted to get this on camera until it comes out, and then you can wiggle. But if you have the same, pretty much the same diameter of the eye of the needle as the rest of your needle, then you're not gonna have that problem. But in my case, the eye is just a little bit wider, so you wanna wrap those as loose as possible. So you have this situation. So I'm gonna come back down. Remember I said I like to go opposite of the direction I'm in. So I'm gonna pull it, and I'm gonna straighten these out with my thumb. And like I said, there's easier ways to do it. This is just how I do the bullion stitch. And then I come down this way, okay? So now we're gonna create the rest of our wheat grain here. So we're going to go around and do the lazy daisy stitch. And I wanna make sure it goes around the little seeds here. I don't know the proper turns. If you're a farmer, wheat farmer, you will know. I do not know. And then I'm gonna anchor it, okay? And then soon we will add these little wispy things that come from the wheat. Again, I don't know terms. So I'm gonna do a shorter one here because we have pretty much the leaves of our wheat stalk there. Come up, come back down. Remember, we're starting up here. Instead of starting at the stem and going up, we're starting up here, going down. And instead of going all the way through, we're just gonna anchor it like this because we need it to stay put, so all those loops will go through the needle. I hope I'm making sense. So I'm gonna do this, wrap it around like this. 1, let's see, 2, 3, us a little bit more, give us a little bit more room. 7, I think 7's about right. And I did that too tight again because I'm not focusing. I'm trying to talk and do this at the same time. But let's see if we can get it through. And I'm making this really more difficult than what it is. See, that wasn't too bad. And it's really not that difficult, especially if you have the right size needle, which I do not. I've got to find all my needles and just get them. I had them in my needle book, and then I've been using them for different things so many times that now I can't find them. Okay, so now we have a situation of a little knot in there, and you just kind of have to work it. And what you're wanting to do is pull and make sure all the bullion is as neat as possible and all the way to the end of your thread. And then you anchor it down. Okay, so now let's do our little lazy daisy stitch, and then let's anchor it down here. And you can do it either way. I just do it this way, but you can do your lazy daisy around this way so you don't have that. But we're going to close that gap at the top with these little stitches here, and I will do that soon. So we're going up here, and I don't want to make these too long. I tended to get a little too long there. I mean, they look okay, but I want the main length out of these little wispy things. Me and my words, huh? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Let's do 7 again. Push that through better. Pull, give it a little wiggle. And I'm going to finish the rest of this, and then I'm going to come back and show you, okay, that's what happened. My tail was caught in. That's why it was difficult. And then I'm going to show you how I finish that. So I will be right back. And also I need to turn on some lights. The clouds have come out. So like I said, let me finish this portion and I will be right back. Okay, I'm back. I finished that, and I also missed a little seed pod right there. So I am now going to, well, I gotta start this. Actually, I'm gonna start the waist knot method, which is my favorite way. And then do a little loop. Come back through. It's another way to do a loop start if you don't have enough string for your loop. And then you can cut the waist knot, and I'll do that in a minute. So now we're just adding our little tiny, what do you call those? Brushes? I don't know. You know what I mean, those little wispy things. And I'm just putting them in between here. But you can also add them at the tip, which is really pretty. I like to do that as well. And then add a few here. Just filling in little gaps and things. Let's add one here. And so you get the picture. And then I was going to show you something, and I'll show you here in just a second. Let me finish this. Of if you think something is a mistake, it actually isn't. It makes it more realistic looking, and I'll show you here. And it has to do with the lazy daisy. Okay, where is it? Oh, here it is. Okay, so if you have your lazy daisy and it's not going quite all around, or one thread is coming over this way, that's fine. That adds to the charm. So don't waste your time trying to fix that unless you just really want it more, I guess, Pinterest worthy or more perfect or something. But nature doesn't always necessarily put it in that perfect format. So as long as you get the idea of it. And this is my favorite way of doing weed. I think it's absolutely beautiful. And I'm not sure, I usually don't like to stretch my thread all the way across. Let's get rid of this waist knot. And I just pull that up a little bit, like this, clip it, and it's safe because remember we started with a little loop there. And then anyway, I'm gonna finish this here and stay tuned and you can see what it looks like. Let's see, I need to keep that shorter, my tail shorter. I always end up running my tail. Sometimes it gets caught if it gets too long. And then I'm ending up with 2 strands instead of 1 or more strands in my piece than I wanted. And I didn't think I would have enough here to finish. Yeah, so I'm gonna have to start this again. I think, maybe not. I would like to add more. You don't necessarily have to. If I add more, I would definitely have to start another thread. But I just wanted to get the basic idea down here for you so you can know how to make wheat, especially, of course, we've got months ahead, but when the fall season comes up, you can do this and make your own little wheat. And it's such a beautiful neutral flower, I guess you want to call it, if you want to call it a flower. So there it is, and I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you on the next thread.